This is one of the secrets that I have kept for a long time. And I think it's ready to be released. And it's very simple. And I'm going to explain it to you. For the past 6+ years, I have not been sick at all. You may think this sounds crazy, but I've not been sick at all. The last time that I kind of got sick, it's about 2 years ago. And I stopped it. Before that, every year, like I said, every year, I usually get sick about, yes, I know exactly when I get sick. It's about, I always get sick right before Christmas. So usually about 22nd. From the 22nd to January 10th. I don't know how many days is that. I don't. Anyway, I would say about close to 20 days range around there. I have never kept a log after that. But all that I know is always got me on Christmas. And one time I was invited to a Christmas party, and this is way, when I was young, a lot younger. And my friends thought that I was trying to avoid. But little as I know, I was telling the truth. I was telling the truth because I actually got really sick. And whatever it is, I do not know. I kind of know, and I'm going to explain to you in a minute. I believe it's a cycle. Okay? And your body somehow go into this cycle. Now, if anyone out there who sees this cycle, then you know that I am talking, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And this part here would be 100% true. There are certain time of your body will go through this cycle. Every year, you're going through this cycle. And if you do not know exactly when you get your sickness or flu or symptoms of a cold, you know exactly what month you will get into. And like I stated, mine would be around the 22nd to the 10th. Around there. I would say the 20th. Let's make it simple. The 20th to the 10th. So about 20 days span. Okay? That's when I get sick. And every year it repeated. Every year. I used to hate it because here it is. Christmas. Right? You always get invited to parties and stuff. I'm going to miss it. New Year's. Everybody likes to celebrate New Year's, right? I'm going to miss it. So I used to hate it. And I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video, you know the same thing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Those are the vital two holidays that we love the most. Of course, everybody loves New Year's. Everybody goes out. But I can't go out because I will get sick. And I live in New Hampshire, part of Massachusetts. So it's cold in the winter. And I can't enjoy between those days. I cannot enjoy just like everybody else and go out. So I tried to stay in as much as I could. And in this video, I will explain the little steps of it. Okay, and I'm sorry it's going to be long, but this is, one, it's medical, and two, I'm giving you a secret that I actually learned. How it actually operates. How this virus actually operates. Or these viruses attacking your body. Okay? And I'm going to try to get it as best and as short as I can the video for you guys, okay? Now, understanding this virus, that how I understand it, this is actually through trial and error of the first year that I remember. And yes, I have kept this for over 6 years. I discovered this over 6 years ago. And I discovered how to do it. I was very young and I discovered this, but I kept it for a long time. And I'll link that video up here, okay, that I mentioned that I will give this out. And if this is the cure, the question is, I don't know, but I'm suppressing it. And that's the trick to this. Maybe it is a cure. Maybe it's a suppress. I don't know. Because it seems that this virus living inside of everyone, and I will tell you, the first one in the world, I believe everybody carry them. Okay? And they say that here's the thing that a lot of people will oppose to this little idea that I'm going to tell you. I believe there's a male and there's a female virus. Not just one. There's a male and female. And here's why. Certain people would carry the male and certain people would carry the female. But in order for it to multiply, it has to meet somehow. And I will explain to you how it actually meets. When you cough or when you breathe or when you spit or whatever it is, the virus will attach it to a water molecule. Okay? It attached to a water molecule. And when do you think that molecule is in the air the most? In the winter. Cold. Cold air actually carries water molecules. Better than in the summer. And that's one thing about I observed, and the word is observed, is that there alone tells me that virus attaches itself and then it find a host. Okay? So that's why I said people carry male and female. Or in this case, or in French case, feminine and masculine or whatever. But to my belief, I believe that there is, and that's how they multiply. Okay? And this is just me, okay? This is just me from my observations and my understanding of it. And what happened is, when you cough, when people spit, when people breathe, it actually attaches itself to the water molecules in the air, and then it meets a host, which means another person. Okay? That's how I understand it. And I'll draw just a little bit for you how I actually understand this. Okay? I'm gonna put a blue. Let's say that's a male. And the red is gonna be the female. Although, like I said, in the cell worlds, they said it isn't. Remember, this is just my speculations, okay? Because here's the thing. How come when you get a cold, and this is why I suspect that it's a female and a male. And this is, remember, speculation. The word is speculation, okay? When you get a cold, how come the other person in the house does not get it? Some. Here's a perfect example. Let's say theirs is a family with 5 people inside a house. How come it only migrate to a certain kid, but will not migrate to another kid? You know, if you know this, if you have a large family, you will know this. Sometimes only 2 people in the house will get the cold all the time. But the other people doesn't. Hi. If it's a 1, if this virus was a 1, if it was just a single sex or a single molecule or whatever you call them, then how come other people in the house doesn't get it? Kind of strange, don't you think? Unless people carry different viruses, which is a male and female. And no, there's no textbooks in the world. The textbooks in the world saying that there isn't. Viruses is supposed to be 1, and there are going to be a lot of people arguing about this, okay? But just to let you know ahead of time, I do not know this myself. I'm not sure this myself. I'm not going to be 100% sure myself. But I know that there are 2. I know they have to be feminine and masculine or male and female. Okay? I know I shouldn't even use masculine, but that's how the French people use. So, if you really think about it, it has to have 2 in order for it to multiply. So when these 2 get together, when these 2 meet, it becomes more. Okay? That's when it actually, you get a lot of them. Okay? And yes, I will explain further than that for you. I will explain everything in this video. Now, remember, here's the concept of life. And I'm probably the only person in the world would explain the concept of life. The concept of life is everything, okay? Remember this word. Everything has the right to live. Okay? Everything has the right to live. Please remember that. Just because you don't like these viruses does not mean that they do not have the right to live. Yes, they have the right to live just like between you and I. Think about it. What gives you the right to tell them not to have the rights to live? Well, guess what? They have every rights to live, every rights to multiply, every right to multiply, to make themselves more. How do you think we got, what, 7 billion people in this lifetime? If we didn't have the right to live, we wouldn't have 7 billion people on this planet right now. Guess what? Everything, including viruses, although we hate them, we don't want them, but they have every right to live just like you and I. Once you have that concept in, then we can go further. But if you don't agree with this concept, you can't go further. Because then, you said that I am a supreme being. You do not have the right to live. Well, guess what? That's not going to be true. And everything in this lifetime have the right to live, including the viruses that we do not like. Okay? Now, how do we get from point A? Once you get this thing to multiply, you have a lot of them inside of you now. It needs to find a host. Meaning, it has to find other people. Okay? So here it is. It's going to go, but how would it multiply? How would it transfer? From coughing, from breathing, from talking. Yes, from talking. If the air, remember the air, if the air have moisture enough, it will transfer through. and it will attach. So that way it can go from one person to another. Okay? That's how it works. But here's the thing. And here's the thing. That's why I said it has to be male and female. Here's why. What if there's a family? In that family, only carry a certain things. Let's say these are female, but it's only carrying male. So it would be blue. But these are male, actually carrying male itself. Guess what? The virus cannot transfer. Even though there's 4 people here in the room, it cannot multiply. Why? Because, just like I said, they are male viruses. So even if you breathe, you kiss somebody, even when you have a cold and you kiss somebody, that person might not get it. It's because it's the wrong virus. It cannot transfer. Get it? That's why I said some people. Okay, now this is a perfect example. What about a married couple? I'm making an example for you. What about a married couple? One had the flu, the other one doesn't. But they're like each other. They're with each other 24/7, but they cannot get the virus. Or they cannot get the flu. Why? It's because they both might carry the same male or female. But here's the thing. There are couples. Anytime the other person get a flu, the other person will get it. Or a friend. What if you have a friend? Every time you have, let's say this is you, and let's say this is me, I'm your friend. Every time you have a cold, I will have a cold. What about the opposite? Every time you have a cold, I won't get a cold. Every time I get a cold, you don't get a cold. The only way that to happen is that it has to be a male and a female. That's how I understand it. And like I stated before, this might not be 100% correct. Okay? But that's how I understand. Because from observation, we know there's viruses. But we don't know if it's male or female. But we can make an example of 4 people in the same room. One person can have it. The rest will not get it. Get it? It's because they're all carrying the same virus. Even if this person spit out and this person lick it, they didn't lick the right virus, they won't get it. Get it? So, that's how I understand them. Okay, and like I stated, I might be 100% wrong. Okay? Then, I'm going to tell you further. Once the virus is infected, and it multiplied all over the place, but have you noticed? Have you noticed? Have you ever noticed? Okay, we have a bunch of viruses here. Have you ever noticed why does it always, when you get a cold or a virus, why does your temperature goes up? I'm going to explain it to you. Why does it goes from about, your normal temperature is 98.6, okay, Fahrenheit. Okay? And if you don't know that, you're going to have to go into Celsius and do it yourself, okay? Google it. When you get a cold, it goes from 101 to about 104 Fahrenheit. Why? Why does it do that? Very simple answer. Okay? Why do you think they call it a cold virus? But no one ever explained this in human history. Why did they call it a cold virus? They call it a cold virus because it has to live under 98.6 degrees. Okay? And I will tell you, I am the only one in the world will tell you this. That makes sense. Why does these viruses cannot live above that? Why did your temperature raised up? Because in order to kill these viruses, your temperature has to raise up. When it raised up, what do we call it? A fever. From 101 to 104. Anything higher than that, we're in trouble. Now, does it make sense to you? It's called a fever. Because your body raised up its temperature from 98.6 degrees to between 101 and 104. So that way, it can kill it. And yes, your body have a defense system. The temperature. Everything live in harmony perfectly at 98.6 degrees. But once the temperature raises up, your body starting to say, oh, I got something foreign in me. I can't do anything. But I can try to raise up the temperature to kill it. Furthermore, we call it a fever. And the temperature was always hot. That's why we call it a fever. It's because during this time, it's trying to knock it off. It's trying to kill it. Okay? And that's why it goes, your body temperature goes from 101 to 104 degrees around there to kill it. Because it cannot live above 98.6 degrees. And that's why you always get a cold in the cold. Get it? And that's how I was able to put these together. Okay? In order for me to put all these things together, then I know how to suppress it. I know how to get it. I know how to kill it. And that's what you see behind here. But in order for you to understand this, we have to go through all these steps. Furthermore, when you spit, when you talk, when you take a shower, or when you breathe, that's how, remember, that's how it's being all transferred. But like I stated before, not all people will get a cold. Why? It's because they're not carrying the male or the female. They have to meet in order to get the male and the female, just like children. Same principle. And in order to look at a virus this way, you have to, and that's why I said a lot of people and a lot of a medical community going to dispute on this. But here's the thing. Why not all people in that same room will get it? Because they didn't get the right sex. Or male and female. And that's how it multiplies. That's why to be honest and truthfully, it is very hard to get a cold. People think it's very easy to get a cold. No, it is actually not. You are just a host. Because remember, every single virus has the right to live, just like you and I. We have the right to live, so do they. That's how they multiply. That's how they move, because they needed a host. And when I understand this, okay, that's when I understand further. Because it goes and look for host. Now, if you stay by yourself in a room, you contained. And that's why if there's big viruses that is really, really infectious, they will contain you in a room. They will not leave. You know this for a fact. I don't have to tell you. Many cases, they will contain everybody in the room and they will not let them out because you can infect other people. Because like I said, that time it multiplies so much that it's going to start to infect people. And that's how a virus worked. It needs to find a host. But here's a funny thing. If your temperature was above this, the virus cannot stabilize. So if you are above 98.6 degrees, the virus has very hard time to live. Okay? So when your body is between 101 and 104, that's why you have a fever. Your body have a defense system that it needs to get rid of it because it knows it cannot raise the temperature up higher than this. Because if anything higher than this, you will go into a coma, which means is that your viruses, the bacteria or you have viruses in your own system. All the cells is viruses, okay? That's how I look at it. It's just different type. They call it virus because it's danger. But like I stated, they have every right to live just like you and I. Okay? They go into attack under 98.6 degrees. Okay? That's the best time. But the body say, I'm not going to let you live. I'm going to stop you. So it raises up the temperature. And then we call it a fever. Okay? That's why it's between 101 and 104. Because high temperature would kill them. They cannot live. And that's why, like, let's say if you go skiing, you will have more chances going to get a virus, to get a cold, in skiing or any type of cold weather than in hot weather. People who live in hot weather, very rare that they have a cold like we do, or like I do, because I live in a cold climate. And that's how that works. And if you put these together, what I show you, you will start to understand how and why we get into the fever stage. Okay? So now we got that over with. Now you understand how the virus and everything is being transferred. How do we stop it? Remember, we can only stop it. We cannot stop it from multiplying. For the rest of your lifetime, my lifetime, and everybody else's lifetime, you will not stop them. There will be no cure. Please remember that. I will be the first one in the world to tell you that there will be no cure for any virus. Why? We have to come back again. They have every right to live and multiply, just like you and I. Please remember that, okay? Now, since we got that all over with, how do we stop it? Like I said, you can suppress it, we can stop it, but you can never, ever cure it. Okay? And I will stand by that. You will never, there will be never a drugs in this lifetime to cure it. Because once it's created, it's there. Everything is there. Like I stated, and you have to take this into consideration, that they have every right to live just like you and I. When you understand that, then you will understand this whole concept. Now, how do we stop that? I will show you in a sample, and this has been my remedy for the last 6 to almost 7 years when I discovered this. Okay? And the dosage that you put in, it's almost like eating the whole loaf of bread. So if you ever think, oh, that is too much or whatever, think again. A whole dosage within the 24 hours, it's an equivalent to less, some actually more, less than a loaf of bread. Yes. You heard it correctly. I'm going to tell you how to do it. How do we suppress it? And I will tell you why we need to suppress this. What do you think it needs to live? What do you think it needs to live and multiply? Oxygen. Liquid oxygen. Yep. That's all it needs. It needs to multiply, and it needs to, and the proteins that is inside your blood, your bloodstream, everything. Remember, it goes into the bloodstream. And like I said, it has every right to multiply. So it's trying to eat, it eats, it multiply, and then when the stage is over, it dies, just like you and I. Fortunately, they don't live that long, but they will multiply. Okay? So, we're going to try to stop that. And it's the easiest way I could think of when I started to put these two and two together. This is we're talking about 6 years in the making here. Okay? And I was able to stop it so many times. But I kept it to myself. to be honestly, truthfully, I didn't know what to do with these information. But now, because of all the stuff that is into my life, I was able to make videos. And this is probably one of my greatest discovery of all. And yes, probably very beneficial to human. But it's as easy as what you'll see there. Can you imagine? But here's the thing. They didn't think of the concept. I thought of the concept. The concept is very easy. You starve their food. You starve their oxygen. They cannot live without it. So they will die. They can't multiply. The easiest answer right there for you. Stop them from multiplying. They are already there. When you have this inside your body, they are already there. That you cannot stop them. Even when your body goes into a fever stage, it took a long time. An average, it's about 12 days. Yes, I know exactly when. It takes about 4 days to get into a fever stage. And it takes about between 8 more days to kill all of them. But I will tell you how to get rid of them really fast. Because we're going to starve them. We have to. We have no choice. And that's when I started discovering this. That's when I knew, how can I starve them? How can I stop them? from multiplying. The body needs to defend it. So the body raised up the temperature to defend it. That's just a natural thing. When you get a cold, when you get every virus out there, you will get the temperature to raise because your body goes into a defense system. It's a foreign thing. It's a, you are not going to live in me. I need to raise up the temperature to kill you. And that's why we get into a fever stage. But you can stop it before it actually go into a fever stage by starving it. Okay? The word is starving it. But what? The oxygen. And that's how we're going to do it. Okay? All you need, to be honest truthfully, the drugs industry, once this video's out, the drugs industry gonna hate this video. But hey, guess what? Guess what? I don't care. I'm gonna give it out. Hence the video. How I discovered it? I discovered that if you mix baking soda, it is similar to salt. You take away, not take away, you cannot take away, okay? Please remember that. You just attaching these into the water molecule. So you basically adding more stuff in it so it cannot live. Okay? As simple as I can tell you. And like I stated, this is less than a loaf of bread. Okay? So and please remember, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, don't do it at all. Okay? And I will give the warning and I give the warning in front of the video. If you don't feel comfortable doing this after doing this, don't do it at all. Okay? I'm just going to tell you that ahead of time. But I'm going to let you know that I have not been sick for almost 7 years. 6-something years since I discovered this. And by accident. Most of the things in this lifetime is by accident. Now, you want about 12 ounces of water. Okay? To starve these suckers. Okay, you can call it these suckers. To starve them, you would need baking soda. Okay? And half a teaspoon for every about 16 ounces. Half a teaspoon. That's it. That's your remedy right there. That's your drugs right there. Every hour. Once you start feeling it, you know that you're going to get a cold. Most 99% of the people know right away when they get a cold. Every hour, take a big gulp and swallow it. Because remember, we are doing this less than a loaf of bread. Remember, a big loaf of bread, 2 teaspoons. We'll only do 1/2 of it. And the total of is 1 teaspoon. That's it. Yep. So, to be honest, truthfully, it's like you eating half a loaf of bread. But please do not eat half a loaf of bread. Because that bread has already turned baking soda into washing soda. It already took the dioxide out. We need that dioxide. Okay? And that's the secret to this. Do not use washing soda to do this. Okay? It has to be the baking soda and it's for the cooking only. Okay? Please remember that. Just like it says, baking soda. Great for baking, cleaning, and deodorize. But we're not going to do that because we're going to bake. More like baking, right? Hey. That's another thing right there. Okay? Now, during this time, I'm going to go further. During this time, you're going to see mucus coming out. Okay? You're going to have to hack it out. Try to get as much as you could out. Oh, I forgot. I forgot two things. Why do we get mucus? I forgot to explain that one. Well, it's good to know. Mucus is actually a defense system. Your mucus, okay? It's actually a defense system that built in with your body. Why do you get runny nose? Why do you have to hack a lot of stuff out of your throat? Why do we get mucus? Because mucus was formed. It's like an army. It goes in and it takes the virus with it. That's how your body is being discharged. So it actually attach it to the virus and then bring it out. So if you see kids and if you see an adult, although this is for adults only, okay? But if you've seen them, runny nose and stuff, why does it cause it? The body is releasing extra stuff to come out. So remember, always spit out. The faster you spit out of those, and the faster you get rid of your mucus in your nose, the faster you will kill these bacteria, because your body is releasing extra mucus, so that way it can bring out. Remember, your body cannot say, oh, wait a minute, I see viruses, I'm going to go and grab it and throw it out. Well, guess what? It ain't going to happen that way. It cannot happen that way. Why? It's because it has to have something to grab it. In this case, your body produce extra mucus. That's the army. The army will come and try to steal all these and take it away. So what does it do with these viruses? It created a wall. That's the mucus. So that way, your body able to bring it out. Get it? So it's sort of in the way the mucus will surround them. Either you can spit it out, either it comes out of your nose, or it comes out your bum. Why do you think diarrhea actually happens when you have a fever as well? Very common. Diarrhea. It's actually a defense system. Aha! Get it now? Furthermore, your body would try to defend everything it's got. So it raises the temperature up to a certain degree. At that time, you will have mucus. At that time, you will have mucus running out of your nose or your mouth. But when you drink this, it helps it to discharge. So if you drink this, a lot of this, you will see mucus coming out of your mouth. Okay? I actually drink this earlier, so I can do it on camera. And I'll drink it again for you, okay? Let me take a gulp. Okay, give me a few minutes and I'll get it out for you. Yes, I have took extra today so I can make this video for you. It actually tastes good for me, but anyway. When we get sore throat, furthermore, this is why we get sore throat. And yes, I will explain it for you, and no one will explain it to you in this lifetime either. Here's your neck, your shoulders, your head, okay, and your mouth. Why does it always get a sore throat? Why does it always attack your sore throat? Why? Because this area right here is the most sensitive area. How can you get in there? It gets into your nose. That's another sensitive area right there. It gets into your nose. Why? Nose and mouth. Why? And you're on your tongue. That's where it can absorb into your bloodstream. And here's why. Why do sometimes you have to put medicine and stuff underneath your tongue? Because that's the quickest way to get into your bloodstream. Why do people snort coke in their nose? It's the quickest way to get into the bloodstream. Get it now? Well, guess what? The virus does the same thing. It tried to attack these areas. Because that's the quickest way to get into someone's bloodstream. That's why it attaches itself on the throat. That's where it actually multiplies. Or right below the nose, right here. That's where you smell. Okay? And your tongue. Why do these three areas, and even including your ears too? Yes. It actually travels up to this tube. There's a tube here. And it actually infected your ears as well. Because all these areas are the most sensitive things in the body. If you were the virus, how would you do it? Well, guess what? I'm happy to report to you, you would do the same thing. You want to attack the weakest area in a person's body. Yes. If you really think about it, if you were the virus yourself, how would you do it? You want to attach yourself because you have every right to live and multiply. Now here comes the next part. How do we kill it? Well, two things can speed this up. While drinking your gulp of baking soda, I'm going to drink another one actually. I'm going to show you that I'm not afraid of it. The next thing. Salt. Now remember, salt and baking soda. Why do you think not a lot of things in the ocean, okay, have you noticed? Not a lot of things can live in the ocean, not even regular fish. They cannot live in the ocean because there's too much salt. They can't get rid of it. They're not built to get rid of it. So they actually die just like you and I. Too much salt. We can't get rid of it because we don't have the gills to filter those out. So, fishes in the ocean and regular fish actually have different type of gills in order to get that out. But we're not going to get into that today. I'm just going to tell you, we're going to starve them again. Yup. When you get to the certain stage of sore throat, now this is way beyond now. We went into the fever stage. Usually a fever will get into the sore throat. Usually you actually get a sore throat before the fever. Sometimes it's opposite of it. Depend on the person. Depend on how it's being attacked. 99% of the time, it actually goes first. You will feel this first, just a little bit. Then you get into the fever stage. Then you get a really sore throat. Then you get really a fever. So they come in hand, but it's kind of like flip back and forth. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you. All you need, it's about 1 teaspoon of salt. And remember, these 2 cups going to be very important to you because I marked it, okay? That red thing right there, or reddish pink, whatever it is, it's actually my salt. And I will put 1 teaspoon. You can put 2 if you can handle it, okay? And what you do is you gargle with this for your sore throat. And this is a very known remedy for sore throat. People tell you that. But they didn't tell you to do hand in hand. Okay? Lift your head up as high as you can. Gargle with it and spit it out. Because we want to reach down here as far as we can. Okay? Please remember that. The further you go, the better it is. But do not swallow it. Okay? Swallowing salt is not good because you get too much salt in you during this time. If you decide to take some salt, then get a lot of water. As much water as you can so you can flush that out. Okay? Please remember that one, okay? I'm not going to tell people to swallow salt. Not at this time. I do not recommend it at this time. But that will be up to you. Some people actually swallow them. But for me, I do not recommend it. I recommend you to gargle it. That's it. So keep going at it. And salt is cheap. Just keep gargle. The whole 24 hours, now remember, the first 24 hours is very important. You have to learn how to listen to your body. Once you listen to your body, you'll be able to kill this right away. You have to learn how to listen, especially when you go out in the cold. I learned to listen to my body when I go out in the cold, believe it or not. And that's how, like I stated, that's why I do not get sick. For the past almost 7 years, I do not get sick. Because I learned how to listen before it gets to this stage. How do you do that? Well, now we know how to cure it or suppress it. We can't not cure it. Remember that, okay? How do you do that? Well, I'll show you. When you start to feel a little tangy thing on your throat, you know it right away. It's starting to get a little itchy right away. Well, guess what? Before it get into any of these stages, just this stage alone, minus the circles around it, get your baking soda out and start to drink it right away. Okay? But remember, 1 gulp for every hour. If you are comfortable with, like I said, there is 2 teaspoons, an average of 2 teaspoons per slice of, not per slice, per loaf of bread. That's just an average, okay? If you are comfortable with that, and it's going to severe mode, or you think it's going to be a severe mode, because it will affect you so fast, then do 1 teaspoon with about 16 ounces of water, okay? Put it inside. And here's another thing. If you can, use distilled water at this time. Okay? Because remember, we want to starve them. We have to starve them. Okay? So, when we get to that, we want to starve them as much as we could, because remember, the trick to this is starving them. Starving them from oxygen, but liquid oxygen, because that's what they need. From my understanding of it, that's what they need, and you need to starve them. So we're going to starve the liquid oxygen as less as they can so they cannot multiply. And that's the trick to this. And like I said, you and I and everybody will know there is no cure for common cold. Please remember that. If anybody tell you that there's a cure for common cold, I'm sorry to bust your little bubbles. You cannot cure common cold or any viruses out there. Because our principle is that they have every right to live just like you and I. They have every right to multiply just like you and I. They have every right to multiply just like all the fishes in the ocean and all the animals in this lifetime and all the virus and all the insect or whatever it is, even trees. They have every right to multiply just like you and I. Until you get that concept in, then you will understand this little concept. That there is no cure. If people say there is a cure, I am sorry to bust your little bubbles. There is no cure in this lifetime. Once it's being created, there is no cure. You can suppress it. You can stop it. There are new diseases living dormant because it has every right to live just like you and I. Until you understand that concept, then this concept will start to make sense for you. All the viruses out there, they are unknown viruses that have not been discovered yet because I call it intertwine. You will hear a lot about it in my videos. I call this thing called intertwine. Okay, please remember that. I am the only one in the world would explain to you. I will explain that in another video called intertwine. Very important. Okay? And that's how this lifetime works. Because of that intertwine, we get things like this. And like I stated, there is no cure. If anybody out there to tell you there's a cure, I'm sorry to bust your little bubbles. There's going to be no cure for this. Because it has every right to live just like you and I. And until people understand that, and guess what? Guess what? And I will confirm that for you. How come throughout human history, we cannot cure this? There is no cure. You can kill what you got, but there will be more. Because it lives in each of individual and all of us until it meets. Get it? Until you have that concept, then this will make sense for you. Why do we get them? How do we get them? How do we stop them? But there is no cure. Please remember that. Okay? And believe it or not, that's up to you on that one. But I am going to tell you, because this thing I called intertwine, there is no cure. And there will be more viruses that we don't even know. Why? Because it's dormant. Because of this intertwine, it has to be more. Can you imagine? Let me give you a little story. Can you imagine? Throughout our human history, we have developed things to suppress. The word is suppressed. Same thing here. We're suppressing them. We're trying to get rid of them. We're trying to kill them. But we cannot. Next year, I'm going to run into the same problem again. Why? It's because I cannot kill it. You cannot kill it. Nobody can kill it. It needs to find a host. These viruses live within the host. You are the host. I am the host. So here's the thing. What about tapeworms? It needs to find a host. It's always trying to find a host in order to multiply. So guess what it does? Here's an example. It lays the eggs inside like a cow. You eat the cow. You got the egg. It lives inside your stomach. There you go. Because you are the host yourself. And that's what I'm saying. It needs to find a host. Well, guess what? These viruses the same way. It needs to find a host. But like I said, there is no cure. But there is a suppress, and there is a way to kill them. Yes, you can kill what you got here. But there will be more. They'll be all over the place. Remember that, okay? You kill what's inside your body. That's it. But there is no cure. Because if there was a cure, we would have the drugs by now. Why do you think, let's say if there was a drugs, they call it cold suppressant. Hello. They used the suppressant. They didn't use cure cold. because there's no way to cure it. Someone else will get it. Other people will get it because it needs to find a host. That is you and I. And that's how viruses works. Okay, and I'm going to a little bit further here. Might as well, right? So, let's conclude it to the video because it's kind of long, but it is educational. But also at the same time, like I stated before, there is no cure. But there is a suppress. But there is a way to kill them. To starve them. Until next time. I will tell you a little bit of story right now. Just a little bit. How I found this out. I found out by drinking baking soda for something else. I'm not going to get into that because that's kind of like secret for me. And I started to notice that I did not get a cold this year. Like almost 7 years ago. Then I said, strange. I watched from, like I said, my cycle. Okay, everybody have a cycle. Between December 20th to January 10th. My cycle stopped that year. I say, strange. Okay, I'm okay with that. Then, I went out to eat. And I should make a video of this. I went out to eat to China's buffet. Oh, I do not. Hey, please remember, I don't hate China's buffet. I love China's buffet. But I try not to eat there anymore. And here's the reason. I will show you really quick how things are transferred. So I went out to eat. I said, oh, yay, I didn't get my cold this year. Yay for me. So I went out to eat. And that was in about July. Around there. And I got my cold. Oh my God. I said, oh Lord, here we go. I didn't get my cold in my normal stage. I'm gonna get my cold in about July. I said, okay. So, I said, fine. I went through my stuff. I got rid of it really fast. Then, I said, okay, that's fine. Next year, the following year, I didn't get my cold again. I kind of did. So I kind of like, okay, I have to watch out between December 20th to January 10th. That was I always observe. That's my observing day. So I kind of like got it because I kind of like just a little bit because you have to remember, I still take my dog out. I still take my dog out in the cold and I kind of got it. So I stopped it again. And then I went out to eat in the summer again. I don't remember that what. I don't know. I always eat out in the summer. So maybe in June to about September the following year, I got my cold again. I say, what in the world? Did my cycle change? No. Then what has changed? What happened? Well, this is what happened. What I did was, everybody's touching this. And everybody's licking their fingers, you know, like they will lick their fingers and stuff because they taste so good. They go in and they grab that ladle, whatever it is, to pick up food to put it into their food. So during the time picking up, they put it in their plate. They leave it right there. Guess what? That virus that we have here been transferring to there. So when you touch it, now you got the viruses in your hand. And when you lick it, that virus will go into you. And yes, I put 2 and 2 together again. And that's how I found out that I cannot go and eat there. I still do. I have my little secret. So that's how I started to discover that, wait a minute, did my cycle change? No, my cycle did not change. I picked up the viruses because I was being in the public and everybody's using this. Remember, at the Chinese buffet, there's a lot of them. Remember, if you go at a Chinese buffet, you know exactly what I am talking about. There's a lot of these around to pick up your food. And they tell you at the thing, okay, there will be a sign, do not eat at blah, 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 blah. Do you think people are going to follow it? No. So, like I stated, I am not against China buffet because I love to go to China's buffet. But if anyone who watches the video and know exactly what I am talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You always get a cold. Sensitive people will always get a cold, or you catch the right virus. You always catch your cold or your fever, blah, 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 at China's buffet. It's because of this right here. And yes, I should make it a different video for this. I will later on, and I'm probably going to explain the same way. And that's how I get sick in the summer. And I could not put two and two together because I thought my cycle has been changed. But nope, it's because of this. Because everybody licked their finger, sucking their finger, blew whatever it is at their table. They come and grab this crap, get the food and they leave it there. You grabbed it. You took the virus right there. And that's how I was able to transfer. And yes, I love China buffet, but I haven't been in a long time. I probably like 2 years now. The last time, oh my God, I got so sick. You would not believe it. About 2 years ago. And that was the last time I got so sick. But here's the thing. I stopped it within 2 days. Yep. It didn't get to the fever stage. Oh, that's another thing too. The secret to this is you do not get it to the fever stage. Once you get to the fever stage, it's really hard to get rid of them. But you're still able to have to do your routine and starve the oxygen. I did got to my fever stage because I got so sick. I got to the fever stage, but I was able to get to 2 days. Usually it will get to the fever stage about 4 days. But in this case was so severe because I went to the China's buffet and someone must have had it so bad, or they must have had it and they must have carried it. Like I said, it has to be male and female. Because if they were sick, they wouldn't be there. Or if they got over a sick and they decided to go out, here I am, I got it. And that's how I was able to transfer from there. And when that transferred from there, because of this right here. And that's how I put two and two together. Why did I get sick during the summer or whatever? Because I was eating out. And that's how I knew how that was transferred. Because remember, the last 4 years of it, remember, it's about 6 to 7 years span here of my study of this damn thing. I started to notice that every time I do that, I starved it. So each, like I said, I actually, now I don't recommend this for you, okay? This is me personally. Around December 20th, I start my cycle. So what I do is, if I go out, if I do things, and if I do things during that time, I use the baking soda to starve them ahead of time so they cannot multiply. Or if I go out and do things and I start to feel that scratchy throat, I rinse it that week with just salt. And yes, just plain salt. Rinse it and spit it out. And then brush your teeth or whatever. And remember, that cup has to be separate. Do not contaminate it, because if you have people in the house, they might get it as well. You cannot contaminate this, okay, during that time. And what happened is, I go through these cycles as a preventive care, because I didn't want it to go into the fever stage or any of those stages. I hate it. So that is my precaution. Just this right here. every single year on the 20th, around there, that week, if I start to feel something scratchy throat or whatever, I will go into that. And yes, I did not get sick this year either. So this will be my 7th year. I just remember just one time, okay, that I started to feel. There were 2 more ahead of time, and those were the experimenting year. And I got rid of it within like about 2 days. The worst one that I just said that I told you, I think about 2 to 4 days that I had it. And I stopped it within there. But before that, every two days I was able to stop that. And that's how I was able to stop all this stuff here. So, if you're seeing this video here, and I presented my case, and like I said, there's no cure for this, just suppressing. That's it. So now I'm going to end the video because I think the video is getting too long. But you have any questions or anything, you can always post it and I'll try to answer them as best as I can, because I went through a lot of research doing this, and I show you how to do it, and I'll even leave it in the description how I do it. But like I said, the first 24 to 48 hours is very vital. Please remember that, okay? And if you have to do it again, just watch this video again if you have to. I know it's kind of long, and I'm sorry it's kind of long, but this is medical, and this is part of my discovery as well. Because I put 2 and 2 together. And that's how I did it. And for the past, this is my, like I said, this is my 7th year, because this is 2020 now. My 7th year, I have not been sick like to the fever stage. The fever stage is the hardest one of them all. I got to like literally hot, like maybe 102. Around there, but it didn't get to the fever stage. I do not like the fever stage, just like everybody else, I guess. But anyway, I hope all my subscribers learned something today, and learned something that I kept for a long time. And I have not, like I said, I have not been sick to the fever stage for a very long time, all because of this right here. And if you follow this just like I tell you, you will suppress it. And like I said, you cannot cure it. There's no cure for this. You can suppress it and you can kill it. That's the whole point to this, is to starve the oxygen. Basically, that's what it is. We're starving the oxygen so they cannot multiply. And that's the best answer that I can give it to you. We need to starve the oxygen so they can't multiply. Anyway, other than that, that's about it on the video. And I guess I will see you in my next ultimate video. Okay?